Well, we've got 52 minutes left in radio transmission. I'll be taking calls on the same subject. The racist film Machete by Robert Rodriguez. It's basically a race war film. We have the script coming out in September. Racist film Machete produced with taxpayer funds. We're going to talk about the Arizona situation, the border situation, how this is threatening to really cause tension in the country, and where the situation is going. Mexico literally collapsing. Many of the criminals of the country pouring across, but many also hardworking people who've had their economy destroyed by NAFTA and GATT. Where is all this going? It's ReddingNewsReview.com. He's got a syndicated radio show on Genesis. I always enjoy it when I'm able to tune into it. And he also is a program director at KMLB 540 AM in Monroe, Louisiana. And they've been picking us up for 4 or 5 months. They've already seen some ratings increases on my show. So that's exciting. A lot of new stations. We're gaining about 2 or 3 a week right now, which is a fast growth rate for us. So we want folks to also tune into 540 AM in Monroe, Louisiana, KMLB. And our guest, Rob Redding, is going to be with us for the next 50 minutes, the balance of the hour. We'll also get into what's happening globally with the banks, what he sees happening with the bailouts. The end of the left-right paradigm is no matter who you put in office, the looting just continues. So we'll be discussing that. We're going to go to Chris, Paul, Ralph, and others who've already been holding along the same issues. So stay there, callers. We're going to get to you. Appreciate you calling. Rob, good to have you here with us.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Well, tell us, most of my listeners probably know who you are and tune in. Your show's one of the most popular here on the network. But the type of talk radio you do and where you see this country going.
Well, the type of talk radio I do, first of all, let me just say thank you again for having me on. I really appreciate it. You're one of the most important voices in radio. Congratulations on the Radio Inc. cover. I was showing my boss the other day, the owner of the radio station, that this show is definitely growing by leaps and bounds. I look for you to be at, 500 or 600 affiliates before it's all over with after having that cover.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Well, if people see the light of day, I think that they're starting to understand that there is definitely something afoot in Washington, D.C., and it's corrupt, and it needs to be addressed, and this show does just that.
Well, thank you.
The type of show that I do is I'm an independent. I do, I guess, radio from an independent perspective. We share a lot of the same views in that I believe that government is corrupt. I believe that the Republicans and Democrats are duping us and that they need to be exposed. And that's what the show seeks to do. It's called Redding News Review, and the website ReddingNewsReview.com.
Well, I always enjoy the show, not just because of your commentary and energy and intelligence, but also the guests you have on. I mean, you're a program director and you produce your show, and
right.
You're kind of in the same place I'm at, having to do a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's a lot of work, but it's important work that you are doing and that I think that I'm doing because, you could always say that, I've got products and things like that I sell, but I also have products that I give away. I give away just as many books as I sell. It's probably more books than I sell. I know you supply your audience daily with your radio show and get little reward from it, but you also have lots of YouTube videos that I've watched and I think are very compelling. I don't agree with all the elements, but I do believe that your heart is in the right place and that you ultimately stand for the same thing I stand for, and that's truth.
Well, Rob Redding, let's get your take on the hottest issue right now in the United States, or if you disagree, I mean, maybe it's the war with Iran or the economy imploding, but what I hear on talk radio, in the newspapers, what I hear people talking about on the street is the fact that Mexico is collapsing, that there are people here who do not want our borders controlled, and both political parties basically want to drive down the wages. They want to have, basically groups in this nation that they can exploit. But either way you look at it, it looks to me like it's starting to really deteriorate and come to a head. What's your view on the Arizona situation?
Well, I believe that this is a situation where clearly there's some issues of race here, but however, this is identity politics, smash mouth identity politics that the Democrats are playing. They would not be concerned about these people in this state being free if they didn't gain something from it. You wouldn't have Al Sharpton out there talking about boycotting. You wouldn't have you wouldn't have the likes of Jesse Jackson out there talking about this is Selma, Alabama, if they didn't think that they were going to gain something from it. So the Democrats have always been a hodgepodge of different groups, whether it be blacks, whether it be gays, whether it be Jews or whatever, is a hodgepodge of different people. And this is identity politics where they're trying to bring these 500,000 people, these illegals, people that are illegally here from the moment they stepped into the country, are illegally here, have committed a crime, into the Democratic Party. And that's what's going on here. And I've been saying on my radio program, and I'm serious about this, we need to lock every single individual that comes across the border up and put them in jail. Don't deport them for them to come back over. Put them in jail. That's what I'm talking about. Because the reverse of that is they would rather us carry national ID cards in our own country so they can mark us, so they can track us, okay? The government, people that are here legally, that were born here, raised here, like you and I, carry these cards so they know exactly what we are, what we're doing, and God knows what else to be in our own country, and that's ridiculous.
Well,
these
Rob
people
Redding,
are legally here.
Rob Redding, that's a point I've made, and I'm glad you bring that up. They have a 100-mile deep zone around the whole country with Border Patrol checkpoints where citizens, the YouTube videos are famous, Pastor Anderson and others, get beat up for asking questions, black, Hispanic, white. If you're a citizen, you're a piece of trash. We have all over the news where illegals get let go for no driver's license, no insurance, drunk driving. The judges just let them go. The railroad serial killer killed a bunch of people, continued to be released. They're undocumented, and then it's a bait and switch. Bush's and now the Democratic Party, President Obama's legislation is the same thing. Citizens have to have an ID to work. We're all tracked, but then they're still going to selectively leave all the illegals alone. I mean, I want to be a first-class citizen, and as a citizen, I'm not. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. Why do you think that's going on?
I think it's going on because, again, they want to, in terms of identity politics, with what we're seeing with the Democrats, they're trying to bring these people into the fold. And I don't understand it because I was having a conversation with someone who's fairly independent, who said to me, he said, these guys are largely conservative on most issues. The only issue that they even agree with the Democrats on is the fact that they should be able to break the law and stay in the country illegally. These people have no allegiance to the Democratic Party, so why are the Democrats clamoring to help them? I'll tell you why, because for the first time, we saw Barack Obama gain a lot of votes, the Democrat gain a whole lot of votes from sectors that they hadn't gained votes from before, that being one where many Latinos and Hispanics have been known to be a little lethargic about supporting the Democratic Party. However, now they are, and so we're seeing them clamoring to help them stay in the country illegally, and that's just wrong. It's wrong as hell. If these people come into this country illegally, they have committed a crime. They should be held accountable just like everybody else. Brothers in the hood are getting locked up for less, so if that's the case, then if you come across the border illegally, you have to be sent to jail. Forget that. Forget deporting them. Put them in jail. And people say, we don't have enough jail space. Of course we don't. Fine, make tent cities, because my goal is to make them run right back across the border. Instead of running over here to this country, they'll run back across.
Well, I mean, here's the issue. If somebody came from China or Japan or Europe, that's thousands of miles away, and we don't have a history of wars with those countries. So many of these illegal aliens that are up here right now are trying to intimidate Hispanic Americans to join their race movement, their La Raza, their Mecha movement. I've had Hispanic caller after caller call in, and we're going to go to some more of those folks here in a moment. I have one guy that disagrees, so he'll go to the head of the line. The first caller in 3 shows I've done on this who actually disagrees. So please stay there. Gilbert, I believe is the name. Yes, it's Gilbert. But think about this. And the news hid this, but I finally saw it in one local NBC news story out of San Francisco over the weekend of the 5 kids at that school sent home for wearing American flag shirts. 3 of them were Hispanic. And it turned out that 2 of them just so happened to be wearing shirts that had American flags. I mean, we've all got those. They sell them everywhere. They're at Old Navy, they're like $5. My little kids have got them. We wear them on the 4th of July. I mean, I don't mean to threaten anybody when I put out a picnic table that's got red, white, and blue on 4th of July to eat barbecue. I mean, I'm not evil here. And it was so threatening to the illegal group that was in that school, that they demanded they be thrown out of school, and they were thrown out of school. That's the issue, is that so many of these people coming in, really don't like the United States because Mexico lost that war.
And you're right. And it does, you know what, and Alex, you shouldn't have to sit up there and say what race they are, what ethnicity or whatever, because it doesn't make a difference. I go by America's independent voice. Look, this country has sinned, it's fallen short, but it needs to be held accountable for striving to be the great land and nation that it should be. And so that's why I say I'm America's independent voice. Yes, I know about slavery. Yes, I know about civil rights. Yes, I know about Jim Crow and all of that. We overcame all of that stuff, and we're still overcoming. But the point is this. They're American citizens. They're entitled to wear the flag if they so choose. And when do people that come here illegally who have committed a crime, see, that's what people forget. People want to say all illegals are criminals. I'm not saying that just because people want to say that they come here committing crimes. I'm saying by the act of coming here without documentation, you are an illegal citizen.